Okay, we're live. This is On the Stick After Dark. I'm Joe, and I'm playing some CPS1 games on MiSTer this evening. And with me at this time is my broadcast partner, Mr. Eric Allen.
Hi. That's all I got.
And MC Banjo Mike Ailes.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And Kurt Adam.
Here I am.
I need to find my
How's the energy doing tonight, folks?
Pretty good.
To find some
I
filters.
don't know if you've looked outside, but, you know. Apocalypse.
Is it snowing? Oh, no. It was snowing today. And
The wind chill factor, it was minus 13 this
Friday.
morning.
Yeah.
I was very excited about that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Right, left, down, up. Button 0.
Oh, hey, everybody's
Button
miserable.
1.
Yay.
Well, what better time to play some CPS games, right?
Right.
What's good on the CPS?
I don't
Just
even know
about
what this thing
everything,
is.
honestly.
It's an arcade.
It was Capcom's arcade their first standardized arcade board.
Okay.
The Capcom Play System.
One.
One, yes. I don't. Let's see. Let's define these buttons again, because I don't seem to be able to attack. Right, left, down, up.
I don't think that's necessary. This is your any percent no weapons round.
Yeah.
It's not important to be able to attack in ghouls and ghosts. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't. I literally don't know what.
Have you been remapping the buttons on a per game basis, or?
I generally do, yes. Okay, I have a jump button. Figured that out.
You can't define V0, or?
I mean, I did. It just doesn't seem to have taken. Right, left, down, up.
You're just playing pacifist ghouls and ghosts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Use your fists.
Does this core? It's like this core is just not recognizing some of the buttons in this controller. Because now I changed the buttons and. Okay, that's weird. Let's.
The other buttons aren't working.
Yeah,
That is weird.
that is very weird.
You need two controllers.
Apparently.
It's built for a twin stick.
Okay, there. I don't. It just doesn't recognize the B button on this controller. This core. That's weird.
Okay. It's still work in progress, right?
Yeah, it's a beta, so I'll have to make a note.
You mean a
to-
beta?
No.
No, it's
I
an
don't.
No, it's an ETA because the B isn't working.
Ah.
All the week.
So
Try
yeah,
that out.
this is Joe Tago's beta core for the CPS1 on MiSTer. And I tried a couple games before we started, and some of them are not working quite correctly, it seems like, which maybe... I don't have the biggest RAM expansion for that's available for the MiSTer, and I'm wondering if that is part of it. Because the games that I tried to run that didn't work seemed like they were maybe a little bit more resource intensive.
Rammy heavy?
Although there's nothing, I don't remember seeing anything in the posts about this that you had to have the bigger RAM expansion. So I don't know. We'll see, I guess, how this goes. But I tried booting up Strider, a couple of different of the ROMs for Strider, and none of them, they all were kind of garbled. And then I tried one or two of the Street Fighter 2 ones, and they were also garbled. But this works, Final Fight works.
Might want to look into getting yourself some more RAM.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that when I got my RAM expansion, it was the biggest available. It was the only available RAM expansion.
Mm-hmm.
The kids do love a lot of RAM.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot that the checkpoints in this version of the game are like more frequent and kind of weird compared to the other versions.
Is that good or bad?
It'd probably be good for a scrub like you, but it's
Mixed bag.
yeah. I mean, if you refuse to get good at Ghouls and Ghosts, then it's probably good for you. But
Says the guy who just died.
I don't really have a lot of interest in getting good at Ghouls and Ghosts.
I mean,
That could be taken as a sort of conscientious objecting, I suppose.
could be. Now that's strange, because I guess I should double check and make sure that these are the current versions of the MRA files, but in Joe Tago's most recent update, one of the things he said specifically was, this update means that you can continue in Ghouls and Go. Oh, I think I might have to hit a dip switch to do that, though, which is weird, because the default dip is you die and the game is over. Or not you die, but you lose all your lives, and that's it. You get sent back to the beginning. So it's actually... Let's take a look at those dips.
There's guacamole. There's onion.
Okay,
I mean, 7 layer, but you might need CPS2 to get to 7 layer.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
There's George Cooper Lindsay.
Scan double effects, test mode. So I don't actually see an option for dips. Maybe it depends on the version. Let's try the world version and see what happens. Or maybe I have to play the Japanese version, Dai Makai Mora. But we'll see. So Jotego had sort of made his name initially on a bunch of pre-CPS1 Capcom arcade games for MiSTer. He did the chorus for 1941, 1942, Ghosts and Goblins. Let's see if that gives me access to soft dips. And then he made it clear about a year ago, actually, I think it was, that he was planning to start working on CPS1 for MiSTer.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have it, so...
And it is glorious.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
These things take a little while to boot up, huh?
They can, yeah. Okay, well, that's not... Oh, there are the dips. Okay. But I can't... I don't think I can switch the dips. I can just...
So he did more than just CPS1, right? He also did
trying to make you
CPS Dash.
He has
Or
not done
some
CPS
CPS
Dash.
games?
There are no CPS Dash games.
No?
He just
Or
did
CPS
in the most
System Changer,
recent...
was it?
Yeah, there's one CPS System Changer game. And that is Street Fighter Alpha. Which is the CPS1. The only reason that the CPS1 version of Street Fighter Alpha exists is so that it could be released on the CP Changer. So, there's that.
The only reason that the what now?
The only reason that
That they made CPS1 Street Fighter Alpha.
the CPS1 version of Street Fighter Alpha exists was so it could be released for the CPS Changer.
Okay.
So, I believe I've heard that there are boards out in the wild that are not Changer Boards, like they're actually CPS1 boards, but I cannot independently confirm that. That's just what I heard, you know, based on the research that I did when I made a video about Street Fighter Alpha. So, but it seems like it's even if that's true, those are maybe bootlegs. Like probably the only officially produced ones were the CPS changer version. So CPS Dash games, in the most recent update, the one that I'm playing now, he apparently added a couple of bootleg versions of CPS. They're bootleg CPS1 versions of CPS Dash games, which I haven't really messed with at all. Apparently, the way that is done is that all of the sound effects and maybe also the music from those games was replaced with sound effects and music from other games.
Okay.
Boy, I'm just getting fucking trash luck on weapons here. So, like, Punisher, I guess, uses sound effects from, like, Final Fight and stuff. It's basically, like... Because the thing that is different between CPS1 and CPS Dash is the Q sound.
Yeah.
So, at some point, enterprising bootleggers didn't feel like dealing with, you know, CPS Dash stuff, and they just made bootleg-ass versions of a couple of CPS Dash. Which there's only, like, there's less than 10 CPS Dash games anyways. Like, there's really not that many. It's like, a couple of them are really good. And he is going to be doing CPS Dash, but I think that's a separate, it's going to end up being a separate core. Yeah, it's like the ones that I'm most interested in that are CPS Dash are Muscle Bomber Duo and
That's a wrestling game?
that's a wrestling game, and Punisher are the two CPS Dash games that I'm, you know, most interested in, that I think are really what kind of makes the whole thing worth it. But he's also already said that he's going to be working on CPS2, so that's probably, I mean, I don't know. It's
CPS2 is way exciting.
It's a hard call. CPS1 and CPS2 both had a bunch of really good games, so it's hard to say which is more exciting. I think probably CPS2.
I mean, personally, CPS2, because I'm such a big fan of Street Fighter Alpha 2.
And Street Fighter Alpha 3 is also a CPS2 game.
Yeah, that's fine.
But,
I'm trying to think what some of the other good CPS2 games are, but that's just that one in particular is something that I'm very interested in.
oh, I mean, yeah, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, was the first CPS2 game, in fact. Super Street Fighter 2, not Turbo, was the first CPS2 game. Alien vs. Predator, both the Dungeons and Dragons beat 'em ups.
Oh yeah, those are good.
1940.
19XX is a CPS2 game.
1940X, yeah. 1940X, The War Against Destiny. And I think also 1944, The Loop Master, I think is also CPS2. I don't remember. I think Gigawang.
Oh, Gigawang, yeah.
Gigawang 2. I think well, maybe not Gigawang 2. Mars Matrix.
That's the porn parody of Gigawing.
Yeah, go play Mars Matrix. I believe is also CPS2. I mean, I'm playing a game. You could pull up a list, Mike, if you were so inclined. But there's a lot of good stuff on CPS2.
It's more fun to just kind of...
But CPS1 is... I mean, CPS1 is all of the Street Fighter 2 iterations except for Super and Super Turbo. CPS1 is Ghouls and Ghosts, Strider, Forgotten Worlds, Final Fight, Saturday Night Slam Masters, Destiny of an Emperor or whatever, Tenchi wo Kirao, whatever that's... And then the sequel to that is CPS2. Captain Commando is CPS1, which is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff available across these two. Ah, damn it! I feel like I play this game too much on the stream as it is. Let's try something else. Knights of the Round, which is a game that I think is like kind of just okay, but
That's a good way to describe that game.
Carrier Air Wing, which is kind of the stealth sequel to UN Squadron. UN Squadron.
Plus, when you make an acronym, it goes "Caw."
Let's check out UN Squadron. Let's see. I did a video on this a number of years ago, but let's check out UN Squadron in the arcade if it boots. Because like I said, I think see, this is what I'm getting on some games, and I think it is because I do need the
RAM expansion.
I do need the RAM expansion, yeah. Because like, oh wait, maybe that was just the boot screen. Nope. Let's see what happens if I can even like get a game to start. See, some of the graphics look fine. Up, down, up. B1, B2, start. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Let's see. Three Wonders, King of Dragons. So I didn't know that. I tried Strider. I think I tried all of the Strider ROMs and none of them booted properly. So I think I do need to. I should see if MiSTer add-ons. Porkchop Express has a RAM board, larger RAM boards, because I'm almost certain that's the problem. Yeah, which is unfortunate. Let's see if I can play like vanilla Street Fighter 2. Let's see if that works. There's a million variants, of course. The fact that I can't play Strider makes me... But I can play Final Fight, which came out after Strider, so who knows what the... You know... this already looks like it's not going to work. That's not going to work. I'm guessing because I don't have enough RAM, the proper graphics tiles like won't load into RAM right, and then therefore like I get garbled nonsense for a lot of this stuff. So I'll go to Final Fight if this doesn't work, because I know Final Fight works. So, but yeah, I mean it's exciting, and it's with Neo Geo. Which is also interesting that Neo Geo does not... Only, like, a very small handful of Neo Geo games require...
There's like 8, I think.
RAM expansion, yeah. So this looks like it works with no backgrounds. I wonder how much Street Fighter Alpha I can play with no backgrounds. Let's define some buttons. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, start, coin, pause, no.
What the fuck?
Boy, we're also, I'm not sure. I might have done the buttons backwards, so my kicks might be punches, and my punches might be kicks. Let's find out together. That is what happened. My punches are kicks, and my kicks are punches, but that's okay. Oh, the sound effects are so weird because it's CPS1. And of course I'm fighting in the dark, which is weird. Yeah, but I'll switch to Final Fight in a minute here, and then I can just kind of play that for a bit. So, Eric, you finished the Final Fantasy VII remake.
I did.
You seemed really keen on that game until
That
about
game
30
is
seconds
way
ago.
better than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not accusing Square of false advertising and demanding a refund?
No, I'm not. Listen.
I'm in the middle of chapter 4.
And?
It's fun, right?
So far I'm enjoying it. It is good. I've
I had a
returned.
great time with that
I've
game.
returned to the slums after having visited Jesse's parents.
Okay.
Do you wish that you were Jesse's parents?
Nope.
Oh, so some of these
I
people,
wish that I had Jesse's parents though.
Oh.
some of the crowd members.
From what I heard,
show
her
up.
her mom makes really good pizza.
Where can I get a mom like that?
Hey, it's got special right in the name. Let's see what you did there.
So, Eric, you enjoyed it then?
Oh, yeah, I had a really good time. The ending is like one of those like.
Well, it's like a non-ending, right? Because it just is part of Final Fantasy VII, right?
Yeah, but the way you talked about the ending, you thought it was just too weird and intense on Squaresoft, or you thought it was good, or...
I mean, without going like fully into spoilers of everything that happens, there's no way to have this discussion. So,
Fair enough.
so unless you want to do that, then
I've already been
But-
spoiled, so I don't care.
I was
But
gonna
Kurt's
say,
playing it,
personally, I
so
don't
been
mind,
spoiled,
but-
but you haven't been filled in on the details, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't played
Right.
it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I wouldn't do that without putting a big warning in for our listeners.
right.
Right. Also, I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till Kurt and Alex have finished it, and then we can.
I thought there was just these two people in the background of Joe's fight.
Yeah,
Yeah, have an
right?
actual discussion.
Just a
Yeah.
couple people there.
I mean, I'll say this. I think that the combat in that game is really, really fun.
It looks interesting, the combat, from what I've seen.
And in general, I did not have super high expectations for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that I liked it as much as I did,
That's a good sign.
was a very a pleasant surprise. The combat's great. I think that in general the translation is pretty good, although it still does. There's still some like weird, awkward things in there.
Yeah.
I wonder for some of those kinds of things though, whether it's awkward because it's a cultural thing.
There's definitely some stuff towards the back half of the game where it's just like the characters will awkwardly repeat things that they already said once before.
Or go, huh.
Yeah, like there's some weird.
Yeah, that
Stuff
and
that-
that kind of stuff is sort of what I was talking about being cultural. It's like,
Yeah,
it,
that's not the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's not. Generally speaking, it mostly makes sense. I don't. Like I said, a lot of what I really would like to talk about is tied up into the way that it ends and what that means for the next however many of those that they're going to make, and whether or not this is like there's a big question mark as to what they would do going forward and what happens at the end of that game.
Mhm. It's wide open.
Potentially either of those paths could be very interesting, but given what the sorts of stories that Square Enix has been telling the last 10 or 15 years, the fact that like one of those paths is that those games just become like some Kingdom Hearts bullshit and
It's all Kingdom Hearts bullshit.
right. But I mean that's the thing is that like you can do some wild shit a la like a Nier Automata or a Danganronpa or with the VLR games or whatever, and sometimes that stuff works out really good, and like as in the VLR games, like some of them are really good and some of them are not so good. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, but I
Devil's details.
yeah, I like those, like the things that I like about Final Fantasy VII are still present and accounted for. I really like all those characters, Tifa and Aerith and Barrett and Cloud. I think that like that group dynamic is definitely the highlight of the game, of the new one. And the combat is just really fun, especially once you like get your hands on like different like they do a really good job of giving each character their own flavor while also maintaining a lot of the flexibility of the materia system that that was like the core of the original Final Fantasy VII, and I think that stuff works brilliantly. And they finally managed to. I feel like they've been trying since Final Fantasy XII to make a weird hybrid action RPG combat system, and this is the first time that I think it's actually really fun. Like there are the last 15 or 20 years of Japanese RPGs are just littered with mediocre to completely unplayable
Action role-playing games.
these like action, like even like any game where you're like moving around and picking things up and it's fraught for me, especially because I just generally speaking
Yep.
don't like, even in like the original Mass Effect, where it was like where it was like rolling your gunshots and stuff, and like I found that stuff to be quite frustrating. Unless it's like a full-on tactical or strategic sort of like Baldur's Gate or whatever. That is a different thing than what most of those games are going for. But this one is really fun because you are constantly switching from character to character to character. And as you do normal attacks, you build up the classic Final Fantasy ATB guide, and then when you go to like pick your selection, everything goes into super slow motion where you like what you want to do, and it gives you the opportunity to like jump from character to character and combo things. Also, like there is no AI programming bullshit. Like the characters are just super defensive when they're in the hands of the AI.
So you can adjust that to be different styles.
Right, but mostly what you want to do is, or at least what I found to be the most intuitive, is just like flop from character to character. Like this isn't like Final Fantasy 12 or
Yep.
Your grandpa's Final Fantasy.
This is definitely the sort of thing where you are given the tools to and actively encouraged to like take an active role in all the different characters you're doing. And all that stuff is great. And I think that half the time, like there was a version of One Winged Angel in this game that was really, really good. It's way better than the terrible original version of that song that I've always never liked. Like most of the battle music was fantastic, but then there's like some stuff, some remixes or some new pieces, like the wandering around overworld that are not so good. So sort of orchestral stuff, but I don't know. I had a great time. I played 40 hours of that game in less than 2 weeks, so for the course of weekends.
Sounds like you did a good time.
I did. I would gladly. Honestly, I liked it so much, and I liked the reinvigorated, reimagined versions of those characters so much that, like, I think most people know that this is not a straight remake, but I totally would have been.
You kind of wish that they could have just dragged this out for another 3 games.
I would have been, yeah, I would have been totally fine with it. Just if it had just been like what this is, and just like a remake of most of the stuff that happened in Final Fantasy VII, even though at a certain point that game is like becomes this weird, like it's kind of like the thing, I guess, at the end. Right? Because there's like Genova is like the thing, and it's like a weird alien that Sephiroth is the child of or whatever, and is destroying the Earth because he's
I mean, it comes with this,
legacy or whatever.
all this crazy ass like sort of body horror stuff.
Like some of that stuff is like that's a lot of that stuff is the stuff that is hurt, I think, the most by the really awful translation in the original Final Fantasy VII because it's not
It is a
really
bit
clear.
incomprehensible.
Yeah, it's just like not really clear what the fuck is going on at some points because you're
The
meant
live
to
stream,
infer
Eric. The live stream.
Right, you're meant to infer the plot from the dialogue, and the dialogue is just horribly garbled at times. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and, you know, I haven't touched or thought about, you know, deeply about that game since
Yeah.
I played it originally.
since
And so,
1997.
yeah, so, you know, I'm playing through this and I'm like, I don't remember any of this. I'm pretty sure a bunch of this is not, you know, is new,
Yeah.
but I kind of don't care. Like, there's enough. It's like if you had a dream of Final Fantasy VII, and then you woke up and related it to someone, that's
Yeah.
what you would get here.
Yeah.
It would be like, I saw somebody say, you know, the you know, insufferable fanboy, you know, rose-tinted glasses of what that game was, is what this game is more doing than just aping the original, which I find an interesting take.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I'll be very curious to see what you think of it because I replayed through Midgar and a little bit of the early parts of that game, like when that game was made available on PSP like 10-ish years ago.
Yeah.
And I've so I kind of have like a more
You got at least refreshed on it. So,
right.
yeah.
There is a mid-20s version of myself that's at least seen a good portion of what's going on in that. So I don't know. I think that this, as the first part of a potential trilogy, I am both intrigued and terrified about what might happen in
Right, where they go from there.
second
Yeah.
and third parts of this.
Yeah.
And God, how long is it going to take them to put those other games out?
And I don't. And the thing is like I said, I don't like. I would have been okay if like it was just like that game again, but like this. And I'm not the sort of person that
just that, but
considers
updated.
the text of Final Fantasy to be Final Fantasy VII to be some kind of sacred cow or whatever. I know that there is like that is a fraught property because it is the most popular Japanese RPG of all time, and it is like a formative memory for like in the way that
it's a touchstone for a ton of people.
The generation that came after me has Final Fantasy VII, and it means a lot. I think there's certain aspects of this game without going too much into the plot where it's just like you know that there's that scene in one of the early episodes of The Wire where McNulty goes in to see Rawls, and after he's told the judge about the fucked up murder investigations, and Rawls has his two middle fingers up and he says, "You see these, McNulty?
Yeah. This one goes up your fucking eye."
Right, and this one's going up your narrow Irish ass or whatever. And there are aspects of this game where it's definitely because a lot of the people that are working on this are the same people that made the original, and there are definitely parts of this game where like they are just saying that to people who are like diehard purists of the Final Fantasy VII plot or whatever. Like, and it's really bold, and I love that. But I also like, I don't know if we needed it because it seems like they might have actually done a good job of like updating it and making it more interesting and fleshing out a lot of things that were missing. So I don't, like I said, my opinion on this game is very much up in the air and will be retroactively fitted around what happens going forward. But as
long as Final Fantasy VII Remake Episode 2 has bears on the third floor, it'll be the greatest game of all time.
Barrett, the third floor Barrett.
Barrett on the third floor Barretts. Slow clap.
Especially like Barrett, the writing for Barrett I think is so good. He's such like the emotional core of the first.
I have enjoyed it so far.
And
for sure, I've surprisingly enjoyed Cloud as well so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing
the
is
way that they have written him and that he's being performed.
yeah.
Even though he's like the text of like reticent, grumpy
Yeah.
hero
Yeah.
for a lot of people, like
That's
it
not really
doesn't
that
it doesn't
character.
right. But
Yeah.
that's the way people talk about it and the way he comes off, and he's not coming off that way to me.
Right. Well, it's the thing about that game, especially like the further like in the back half of Final Fantasy VII, is that like a lot of that is just like he doesn't really know who he is, and so
Right.
like he's just sort of like projecting this cool person.
Right. Yeah. He's all of that is put on because he just
Right.
doesn't know what the fuck to do with himself,
And
or where he came from, or how the hell he's ended
Yeah.
up here. Yeah.
And in this game, like they do, I think a really, like you said, the voice acting and the writing both do a really good job of walking that.
Making that come across.
Him
Yeah.
being a total like just a total asshole.
Imposter.
And, right. Also,
Yeah.
like showing you that that he doesn't that like this is an act and that that's not who that person actually is.
Right.
And it's good. I think it does a lot of that stuff. I like the thing that's the best is the stuff with Aerith and Tifa later on in the game, which you haven't seen yet, Kurt. But
Yeah, I haven't seen that
like,
yet.
some of that stuff is just
Yeah, Tifa
A+.
or Aerith
I
has
love
only
it.
been
yeah
in the brief original.
Yeah, you just bumped into
first
her.
scene. Yeah,
in the courtyard there,
yeah,
like you do in the original.
right.
I hear she hits somebody with a folding chair, which
She
I'm a
does
fan of.
in the Don Corneo, or
Eh.
Corneo as they say in the game. I know there's some
What?
pronunciation stuff in this game.
So wait, where do you fall?
Mako is
I
I was
Mako.
gonna say, yeah, I was literally about to ask you,
Yeah.
where do you fall in the Mako
Mako.
thing?
Everybody
Yeah, Mako.
that I've ever had a conversation with about Final Fantasy VII with has always said Mako.
Yeah,
And the Mako thing, even 40 hours later, still throws me.
yeah. Every time they say it, I'm like,
Yeah, that sounds wrong to me. And same thing with Don Corneo. Corneo is a really weird
Corneo, yeah.
pronunciation. There's a person. I'm gonna type this into chat for Mike and Kurt. Maybe you guys would like to try pronouncing that name.
I would say Kiri.
So in the game they say it Kyrie.
Kyrie,
Sure.
because I would think of it as Kyrie.
Kyrie.
Yeah.
Just
You know.
talking meat said period.
No, well that's how
Nope.
the Microsoft voice guy says it.
So obviously that's correct.
yeah, so
That's how-
obviously-
Clearly,
yeah, that's right. The
that's how they
Microsoft voice.
that's
is
how they did
wrong.
all of the pronunciation hits for the voice actors.
/ text to speech MAKO. Let's see what he has to say
Just
about
talking meat said Mako.
Nope.
Mako. Yep. /
Mako.
GPS.
He
Corneo.
said Mako to me.
Oh, did he?
Just
oh, he,
talking meat said Corneo.
oh, he said Corneo, not
Cornea.
I think I always pronounced it Corneo though.
Really? That sounds like a weird French
Corneo, because
pronunciation.
it's like an Italian name, right? He's a Don.
Is it
I don't
Donna
know.
Corneo?
Uh-huh. He's not
a
though. He's not
terrible-
Italian.
Terrible fake. He's a Don.
He's a pudgy. I mean, no, that's his name.
His
You think
name
he's
is
Donald Corneo?
Yeah, that's right. Donald
He-
Donald
he
X
thinks that, like,
Corneo.
he was an optometrist before he started.
Good old Dr. Corneo.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, if you can play Final Fantasy VII, I highly recommend, and you're interested, and you're not. I think that anybody that really loves that game and just wants the straight remake should not touch this at all, because you will not just be.
You're not gonna get what you want. Yeah.
Right. So,
It's a remake,
I mean,
not
it's
a.
it
Well, it's that. What
potentially
are they?
it's more than just. It is an intentional like fuck you
Right.
remake. Also, like it's not just it's not just like the Fly to the Fly or the Thing to the Thing kind of a remake where you take the themes and redo everything.
Right. Yeah.
Potentially. So I don't know. That's fun. The combat is super fun, especially once you get 3 full characters and can kit out with several types of linked materia. And I think one of the
I
biggest
did
flaws
enjoy
is
the
that
bit-
you can't like it's like it will sometimes throw you into fights or boss fights without giving you the opportunity to respec your characters first.
Yeah.
It usually does a pretty good job of checkpointing before those fights, so that way like you can fail and then
Right.
like re-kit yourself. But there were boss fights that took me longer than they should have because I didn't have the proper things equipped.
Right.
But
The main fight that I just finished in the place where I was is right after I got my first summon materia, and I found it really hilarious. They're like, when they do the tutorial as you start to do a fight where it's actually going to show up, because you don't really have control over that. Essentially, sometimes they let you use the summon, depending on the kind of fight it is or whatever.
At
I don't
all,
get
like
why-
you could
and-
always use it in boss fights, but there were like
Yeah,
some
essentially.
boss fights where you can't, and some where you
Right.
can, and
Right. And you have no control over, like, all you do is summon it and then it does its thing and fights alongside you. It's not like in
you
Final
can.
Fantasy VII
It's
where
a guest party member.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you can. So you from your ATB gauge menu, you can. All the summons have 2 abilities, and then
yeah, right.
you
But
use your character's ATB to make the
Right.
summon do a thing.
but sort of what I was getting at was you weren't using it as an ability
Right.
like in Final Fantasy VII, where it's like, okay, I'm going to call this
Just
thing,
come
it's
on
going to
and
do
hang out
this,
for a while.
it's going to do this Uber attack, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
That's
you
not what
summon
happens.
Ifrit, and then he shows up and he just like flexes a lot.
Yeah. Well, that was what I was going to say. Is the funny thing is, I get him, like, they gave me the materia, like, I don't know, 15 minutes before that, 20
Yeah.
minutes before that. And you're like, you have this materia, later you'll be able to use it in fights. I'm like, okay, great. Let me slot this in. And then I did like 2 or 3 fights and nothing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And then I started a fight. I was like, okay, it'll be in this one, and then nothing.
Mhm.
And it turned out it was a multi-stage fight. And so when she got to the part where it actually activated, he comes out, I fire him up, and then I finished off the last dude, and then he did like his ultimate attack for like no
Yeah.
damage whatsoever.
Cool. Yeah. Cool.
I was
Thanks.
like,
Thanks,
awesome.
buddy.
Yeah, thanks. So
See you later,
it is
I
exactly
guess.
what you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
He flexed around and he was like,
Yeah.
check this out. I'm like, yeah, great, but I'm already
Well,
done.
yeah, he could have just like done some kick flips or whatever, it been the same thing.
Exactly.
Didn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least in this game, unlike Final Fantasy VII, they have all the armor, or no, it's all the weapons have a special dedicated summon material.
Yeah, I was actually kind of annoyed when they gave me the summon material. I'm like, but I only got these 2 slots, and I'm working on these, but I want to level these
Yeah.
materia up, and I don't want to take out one of these to do that. And then I was like, oh wait, there's a slot here for it. Oh great,
Yeah,
okay,
So,
fine,
right.
fine.
So yeah, it makes sense in that.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that all works pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
There's only like 5 or 6 summons unless you get the special pre-order ones. So, but you do end up with like almost all of the materia that you could get in original Final Fantasy VII, which I mean makes sense because it's a 40-hour game. But
Yeah.
and then I have a lot of questions about how they will. What kind of abilities will they have in
Yeah, are they
the
gonna-
next one?
Are they going to Metroid you out, or
Yeah.
are you going to carry on from where you're at, or what?
Also, how am I gonna bring my save data across to the next PlayStation or whatever? Because there's a bunch of choices, and it's like, in the original Final Fantasy VII, the choices you make in Midgar, especially how you treat Aerith and Tifa and Barrett, potentially determine like who you go on a special cutscene date with and
yeah,
Gold
right.
Saucer. And those choices are all still present in this game, so I don't know how that stuff will track across to the next one, or if it'll have any relevance whatsoever, or
Yeah.
what. But I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's fun.
Does anybody
Like I
know?
said, I
Nobody
really had a
knows.
lot of fun. What's that?
I said, does anybody know? Nobody knows.
Who can know?
No.
You know
I
anything?
mean, probably the
believe-
people working on it know. I'm hoping that it doesn't take 5 years to get that next one.
Maybe even they don't know. You don't know if they know.
It's possible that they don't know.
Maybe the only one who knows is Tetsuya Nomura.
I was about to
I
say
don't-
Nomura knows.
I don't know
Except
how
I-
much
except I bet he doesn't
involvement he has, because he's like the producer or whatever, but I don't know if he's involved in the way that he is involved in.
He's not the director. There's not enough zippers for him to be involved.
No,
in
he's like
that much.
the producer or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to say the director is the same person that. Oh no, I don't know. I guess he is a director, and Katase is the producer, who is I think I don't know if that's reversed from what it was in the original one, or
I don't know. I don't know. Turns out I don't pay that much attention.
No,
So-
I actually think he might have just been a character designer in the first one, or a writer or something. I don't know, because I think was 7 the last one that Sakaguchi was
Yeah.
the lead of, and then he left after that or something. Because
Yeah,
then he
well,
formed
he-
his own company after.
He went from there and did the movie, and then he
Right.
left.
Right. Or no, he did, and he did 8 and 9 too. I think he worked on those as well. I think it was after 10 was when he left to make his own company.
And then he made a game that was basically 10 again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was that Blue Dragon
Blue
or something?
Dragon.
No, Lost Odyssey.
Lost Odyssey. Oh, right.
That game's
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
Blue Dragon is the more
That's the
Dragon
other-
Questy one.
Yeah.
That was
The incredible soundtrack. Or at least one incredible song.
One incredible song. What the hell?
So, yeah, there you go. Anyways,
this
that
is-
ending sure was a thing.
Let's go. Eight.
I'm sad that I don't have anything left to do except
Nope.
for potentially.
Final
play
Fantasy
that
VIII
card mode.
was Kitase and Shinji Hashimoto.
Okay. He worked on 9 though, right? Because it was a big deal that he was like coming back to do 9 or something
Let's look.
after they pooped 8 all over my face. And then
He and Hashimoto worked on that. So who knows exactly.
so weird.
1, 2, 3.
somebody answer that damn phone.
6.
Dave's not here, man.
Nice. Zeben,
Uh huh.
producer, supervisor, and nine-hander. That's
Oh,
what we need an update for.
That's we
Hell
just need
yeah.
the original to get
I was
released
gonna say.
again, and
I'm cool with that.
in a
They
place
could
that's
make it a little
playable.
easier. I wouldn't say no.
Executive producer on 8. Like courtesy title. Producer on
Yeah.
9. Executive producer on 10 and 11. And 10-2. Special thanks in 12.
And Toy Wolf?
In 12.
Oh. Toy Wolf sounds awesome.
Toy Wolf does sound awesome. That's my favorite Japanese metal band, Toy Wolf.
Right, because 12 was the Matsuno one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it started out as the Matsuno one, and
Yeah,
then
and then things went
for
horribly
a
right.
variety of reasons, he was.
Yeah, Matsuno and Hiroshi Minagawa.
Oh man.
Oh wait, Matsuno isn't even listed. That's Hiroshi
Oh, no.
Ito. Composer. No, that's Matsuo. There he is. Writer Yasumi Matsuno.
Yeah.
But he did. You can tell when his influence disappeared.
Oh man, Final Fantasy Tactics.
Final Fantasy Tactics is so good.
It's pretty good.
Are we still streaming?
We
I
are.
have no idea.
We are.
It just
Yeah,
looks
we're
like a
still
black
streaming.
screen. It seems like this thing's not maybe working as well as.
Yeah, I'm trying to deal with that a little bit.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's is there anything coming out now? I guess there's that new
So there's an XCOM game coming out
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I hadn't heard about that. Mike, are you aware of this game?
Not really interested.
Okay, just checking.
I mean, aliens and sci-fi and stuff. Like,
Are you
Just
are
shut
you
Grow up,
worried
you know?
that that's not going to be what you want from an XCOM thing?
I mean, I think my expectations are managed because
Okay.
I don't think this doesn't look like it's going to be a big, huge release.
Right. Well, I mean, it's $10.
Yeah, well, it's 20 officially,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're giving it away for half price before it comes out. Like
Yeah.
this looks like a little experimental thing, and if I had to guess, they're gonna just be looking for feedback on this to decide what they want to roll into XCOM 3.
Yeah.
So like I'm down for trying out some kind of cool interim stuff and seeing what they have. So the premise of this game is that it's more just like a squad based thing. You're not a globe spanning organization in this one. You're a group of like 10 or 11 soldiers in a city, and the soldiers are all pre-made and they have personalities. And I've been saying for a long time that I really wanted to play like an XCOM style game, but where the soldiers are predefined and have cool personalities and have like banter with each other and preferences about who they want to work with. Basically, I want Jagged Alliance 2, but modern and XCOM. So this looks like it would have a little bit of that, and I'm hoping it's going to be fun, but who knows? I'm not expecting a ton out of this.
Okay. I'm also hoping that it's fun because I also bought it.
I am in the same boat. Sure, I'll
and
give
also
$10
that-
of my money.
Yeah, and also
I
that
suspect
Gears.
I'll get at least that much out of it. Yeah, the
that
Gears Tactics thing. I'm
Tactics thing
interested
is
in.
out this Friday, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I
No,
was
next
going to
week.
try that, basically because I didn't really have any idea what else to do. I was like, oh, sure, I'll try Gears Tactics. But now it's like, well, I kind of have this other tactics game I'm way more interested in.
Sure.
Pardon me. I was listening to I think they were talking about it on Waypoint, and didn't sound like there was wall bouncing, and it also seemed like maybe the shotgun wasn't what you want from Gears of War shotgun. So I don't know.
You can't two-piece anybody?
I mean, that's you don't want that. That's bad. It's good that you can't do that, but you can't. Listen, if you can't like bounce off a wall and turn around and get a good meat shot on somebody and blow them to pieces, then I don't know what we're doing.
Ghosts of Tsushima comes out in June, which might be good.
I mean,
I like Sucker Punch.
Who knows
like
if
Sucker
any of
Punch.
these things are actually going to happen now? I guess at this point, I put Horizon Zero down into my PlayStation 4 to download, so I think I'm going to give that a shot.
I like that game a lot.
You said that when you handed me your copy
Yep.
of the game to borrow, so
Yep. Yep.
I'm gonna play a little bit. Well, I don't. It's weird because now I know there's a PC version of it coming.
Yeah.
Playing Final
You know that-
Fantasy. Yeah, go
That
ahead.
PC
Mike.
version's going to look good.
Yeah. The PlayStation 4 version looks pretty damn good.
It does.
But man, I'm such a fucking like video game slob at this point. Like
What?
I'm such a
You?
fucking PC snob. It sucks.
You?
Playing
What?
that Final Fantasy VII remake the whole time, all I could think of is like I could see the frame rate only being about 30 the whole time, and it was driving me fucking crazy.
I turned into
all
one of
these
those.
pictures.
Huh?
Like sometimes that game
He's
looks
that guy.
incredible, and then sometimes it's like, oh man, but what if there was some.
What if I had
What
more?
if these lights? What if these shadows were a little bit higher
If
resolution?
I
you
wish
know?
this was volumetric.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have waited.
What if I had? Yeah, but it would have had
Only-
a year or
Yeah,
more.
it's a year supposedly.
Yeah,
And
it's at least a year.
I need more. I need less. More X's on my anti-aliasing.
I'm playing this on my G-Sync monitor, but it doesn't work with G-Sync because it's on a PlayStation, not my PC.
F-Sync.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah, like even like at these low frame rates, it wouldn't make any difference anyway. But
But you want it anyway.
I want it anyway.
I paid for this thing. I want Ultra.
Right, I spent all this money on this PC, but I mean, listen, I got over it. It was fine, but
That
Did
little
you?
voice in the back of
it
your
was.
head.
It absolutely was. It was exactly that. I think maybe it was Mike that was on like the first day I played it, and I was saying the same stuff to him because that was when it was like the worst. But I'm just
You're like
I'm
the
a spoiled
slightly more
brat.
You're like the slightly more reasonable version of Alex here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Which
not
is
upset
probably
about it.
a little
I'm
bit.
mad about it,
Yeah.
but
I think he's a lot more
Brand.
reasonable than Alex.
This could be.
I mean, in this particular thing.
This
Okay.
could be so much better. That game's gonna look amazing on PC. Potentially.
You'll have all the res.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 15 looks really nice on PC. But that's
And
a
you
game-
can like
that
turn
is
your
a
guys
game
into
with one of
Waluigi
those
and shit. So you know.
hybrid RPG combat systems that I do not like, so I didn't get very far in that. But like this game has borrows a lot, I think, of the DNA of that, but it just moves so much faster. Like I think that game is where they got the stuff with like staggering enemies, and
That was from 13.
was that in 13?
Yeah, that was the whole thing
Yeah.
in 13 was that, yeah, you would stagger enemies and then their defense would drop by a really large amount. So
And
it was
then-
all about like
yeah.
switching between a party that would build the stagger meter, and then you would
And then
couple
you
all switch to
unleash the
jobs that would
hounds.
just
Yep.
pile on damage for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
I was kind of thinking about playing that game too. I don't know what's
Final Fantasy 13?
Yeah. I never
Yeah.
I own it. I know I played a little bit of it, and you told me it wasn't very good, so
It
I
isn't
never
very good.
played much of it. But
I played a bunch of it, but I didn't finish it.
apparently that also has like a
I should probably
nonsense
finish it.
storyline. So
I mean, it's a
yeah,
Final
it's a real
Fantasy
bad
game,
storyline.
so
I mean, Final Fantasy 13. My enjoyment of that game was pyramidal in that I didn't like it very much, and it got very slowly better and better and better. Then there's like a 10 hours in the middle of that 50-hour game were pretty darn good, and then it started to just kind of like wear off.
Yeah.
So for the first
Great.
long time, I didn't like it because the game holds your hand way too long and doesn't let you actually
does.
play the game.
yeah.
does.
And then the middle part's great, and then it's just that for the rest of the game. So like just over
It's
time, you
okay.
just kind of
You're like, I've done
But-
this. I've done
Yeah.
this for 15 hours. I've done this still.
But I want Final Fantasy to be good because I played Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's like, remember when Final Fantasy was really good? That was really good.
I
And
like
it was-
that.
I liked that. I really liked it, and it doesn't. I don't have it anymore. It's
I
very
haven't
sad.
tried 15, but the last time I really enjoyed a Final Fantasy game was like 2003 or whenever 10 came out.
Yeah.
yeah. So you know what?
I like 10 too.
The
You liked 10 too, or you liked 10 also?
I liked 10 also, and I liked 10 too.
I
10
thought
2
the
was really a thing.
I didn't get
10 2 is really a thing.
I like 14 a lot too, but
I didn't
Yeah, that's a whole
finish
different
it,
thing.
but
it's a whole different thing.
I played 50 hours of that game and had a good time. But
Did you?
yeah,
Wow.
Wait,
I
which
played
one?
quite a bit with you and Coffee. And,
Yeah, you did. I just didn't think it was
Right.
quite that many hours. So
Yeah,
it's real good.
yeah, it was good.
the DS version of 4 was okay. I never
Very
finished
hard?
it. It was very hard, so I never
Was that,
finished it.
is that the remade one, or is that the one of the ones that?
No, that was the remade one. I was in 3D and everything.
One more Final Fantasy.
You can also play the
That's about it.
PlayStation port of 4, which is just like the Super Nintendo game, but much harder.
Yeah, but
We
the
should just play 4 and 6 and 5.
5.
I would.
I've been thinking. All I can think about lately is playing Chrono Trigger and Suikoden. So maybe that's what I should just do. Is just play those games instead.
Suikoden.
Oh man, you play Suikoden again. and
I
would be
keep
happy.
thinking about playing that. And not getting around to doing
So
it.
good, and you can do it in like 15-20 hours.
That's
I know.
part of what makes me think about playing it.
That's why those two games are my favorite Japanese RPGs.
Yeah, they don't
Shout
don't
out to
fuck
Parasite
around.
Eve.
Parasite
Yeah,
Eve is also-
Parasite Eve, yeah.
That's a different kind of a thing. But yeah.
Well,
It's really cool.
yes and no. Like Parasite Eve reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy VII in some ways, with like a bit of real-time positioning, Chrono Trigger combat. You know, like more hands-on than those.
I
games
like the
are,
music in
but-
that game a lot.
Yeah.
Parasite Eve is great. I replayed a bunch of that a few years ago because I streamed some of it for 31 Days of Horror thing, and that game holds up big time.
Does it?
I'm always
Yeah.
every 6
Okay.
months. I'm like, oh, I should just replay Parasite Eve. I haven't done it in a while.
It's a little, the combat's a little bit slow, but like honestly, that is an early like hybrid RPG combat system that actually works pretty good for the most part.
And like, no one ever really iterated on that one that I'm aware of.
No, not even
think the
Parasite
problem
Eve
is-
2, right? Like,
Yeah, not
No.
even Parasite Eve
Yeah.
2. I mean, the
Which
problem
like
is
crappy Resident Evil.
with most RPG combat systems is that just the battles take too fucking long,
Yeah,
and
that's
Most
part
of the
what
ones
makes
that I
Suikoden
like-
so good.
yes,
Boom,
and
you're in,
Chrono
you're
Trigger.
out.
and they're really
And
like
also
those
Chrono Trigger.
mid-period Final Fantasy games, and Parasite Eve is also like a game like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of the more modern ones are just these convoluted, like nonsense systems that are not that much fun.
I mean, you played all those
Yeah,
Persona games.
I did. Well, those games are also very snappy and fast. Those games are really good.
They're not very convoluted in
What,
that it's mostly
Persona?
just it's
Yeah.
a lot of elemental weaknesses, and
Yeah.
I mean the convoluted part is creating personas, which if you want to get real deep into that, you can go real deep.
I want to
But
make
the
these demons fuck.
Yes.
Thanks, internet.
I mean, that's not from the internet. That's just in the game.
Oh no, it's the internet's influence that made that be in the game, though. I mean, come on.
Oh, I don't know. Was it?
I don't know.
I heard that the new version of Persona 5 actually rewrites a lot of the dialogue.
Was it
But can you still let the
Some
demons
of the-
fuck?
some of the bad stuff?
I think they didn't manage to completely get rid of the bad stuff.
I will shout out to Final Fantasy VII for mostly getting rid of all the gay panic bullshit in the mall market.
Yeah, it sounds like they did a really good job with that scene, and like not even just in the translation, but in the actual Japanese text. It seems like they really
Yeah.
modernized that a lot.
It's yeah. Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask somebody who's whatever. You'd have to talk to
Got some skin in the game.
yeah, some LGBTQ people and ask them for their opinions. But for me, especially compared to what the original game was, I will say, or even for what my expectations are for a big budget game from Japan, it's like, oh, I didn't feel
It's
bad
all right.
playing through that. I didn't feel too bad most of the time.
You weren't sitting there frowning, going,
Yeah.
I honestly thought the only way they could pull it off would be to burn it to the ground and just not even do that.
Yeah.
Sounds like, I don't know, maybe in a year if this game comes on PC, I'll actually play it, but or maybe a year from now I'll have a PlayStation 5 that'll be backwards compatible. Who knows?
Maybe.
maybe.
Possible.
Well, they said major PS4 titles, right? I feel like this would qualify.
I would think so, yeah.
Considering
I mean,
that it's
they've
selling
sold,
like fucking
a million copies
hotcakes,
of it
yeah.
already sometime, yeah.
It sounds like they're probably going to support more than just the major ISTA titles, but I think they'll just make
I
sure
think,
that
yeah, I
the
think they're
ones
just
work first.
hedging bets there.
They'll,
We're not gonna
they'll
promise
spend their
everything.
testing budget on the most important, on the most popular
Yep.
games, basically.
Yep.
I don't know. I
I
played
have
a
a
bunch of
feeling that
PS2
Final
games.
Fantasy VII will be on that list.
Yeah.
I think
suspect
there's no way
so.
it's not on the list.
Yeah.
I'm still really curious to see what's going to happen with those consoles, if those consoles actually happen this year.
Yeah.
How much they
There's
cost?
enough of them so you can get one if you want it.
Yeah, whether I want one also is a thing
Yeah.
that I'm curious about because I don't really know yet.
Yeah,
How bad
I
do you
need to know
think it's gonna
more
make the
about.
prices in Canada.
Yeah.
I need to know more about what games are actually. Do we even know any PS5? Like,
Nope.
Nope.
there will be
We'll see
video
at E3,
games.
wait.
On it. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Shit.
Hold on.
But in
Well,
my case,
I
it's
mean,
more
no,
just
they
like-
weren't going
maybe
to be
at
at E3.
Gamescom.
They
Oh,
weren't
wait.
going to be at E3 anyway, so.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
That's true.
that's part of the joke.
But in my place, it's more just like I'm wondering if it's going to be this. If one of those consoles will be the system that I play AAA games on, because I think buying one would be a lot cheaper than upgrading my computer to the point where it can
Maybe.
perform as well.
Well,
Well, I mean, it
I
depends
would
what.
say, like, we're gonna find out this summer because that's when the new Nvidia things are gonna be announced. And if they
Right.
can do if they can do a really good like $300 RTX card, then maybe that's not the case.
Well, maybe
the same
but that
thing
would be
with
a
the-
huge leap in compared to what they have now, right?
Oh yeah, but I
Like,
mean,
if you want to do
like-
4K RTX, you need at least like a 2070 Super at this point, maybe.
right? But I mean, you're not gonna get like full ass 4K ray
I
tracing.
want all the
and stuff.
ass.
I want
Yeah,
the
but I mean,
whole
you're not gonna
ass.
get that on a PlayStation 5 either.
You don't think they're gonna be 4K?
I don't think so. Not
Yeah.
for less than $500.
I mean, they're willing to eat some of that cost for sure. They're not trying to make a profit on every system they sell.
Right. No, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying that like the PC that I have right now probably couldn't do full ass 4K ray tracing stuff, and my
Like
PC
2080.
is almost absolutely better than what the PlayStation 5 is going to be. And a lot of that is software stuff too, because like we don't know, like once developers have the RTX or the ray tracing stuff, like the tools to make that stuff, then that stuff might run a lot better. Honestly, I played through the Control DLC with the what the hell is it called? It's that AI upscaling stuff turned on.
Okay.
I don't
I
know
think
what that is.
It's called DLSS, the Deep Learning Super Sampling, which is only available on the RTX cards. It's like one of the special things that those cards can do. It was actually the thing that was potentially more interesting than the ray tracing stuff. And so basically what it does is it runs the games at a lower resolution and then uses AI upscaling to scale it up to whatever your actual monitor resolution is. So that way you can turn on all the bells and whistles without having
High score.
like put out all those pixels, and then you can like fake the upscaling. And that looked like I played through all of regular Control with like the ray tracing stuff turned up most of the way, and like the frame rate would chug down into like the 40s and 30s sometimes. And then I played through the DLC with the DLSS turned on, because when it first came out, the DLSS stuff just didn't work very well, but I had heard that they had fixed it, and so then I played through the DLC with that turned on, and I had everything totally maxed, and my frame rate was like 70, 80 the whole time. And
What's the resolution on your monitor?
so I have a 1440
QHD
monitor. Yeah, it's the middle sized one, and so I think that the resolution scaling I had it set to was putting it out at something like
1080 or something.
It's less than 1080, but it was scaling it in a way that I honestly, aside from like a few like weird things with some lighting stuff once in a while, I would not have noticed the difference. It was really incredible how that stuff was working. Control.
So now let me ask you this: what did you think of the Control DLC? Because I also played it.
It's good. It's all right.
That's how I felt about it.
Didn't get me there. You know what I mean?
I was like, yeah, this game's good. But
1706 by 960.
That is a weird set of
That is a
numbers.
weird resolution.
960p, let's say.
Yeah. So I believe.
Yeah, based on your guys' reaction to it, I'm thinking I'll just wait until the second one's about to come out, and then maybe I'll buy the season pass and play both.
Well, and
one after the other.
because realistically speaking, this seems like it's setting up for the story stuff in the second one.
Yeah.
You basically, as you're getting to the end, you're like, where's this gonna go? No, nowhere. Okay.
If you want to see
It's
Jesse,
gonna go with the second one.
If you want to see Jesse and Emily hanging out and talk about weird stuff, it's got that. If you want to fly around and throw rocks at guys, you can do that.
Yeah, Marion was
I would like to throw around
sitting there shouting at the screen about how Emily is obviously some sort of traitor and fake and so on. Yeah. She's never trusted her the entire game. Every time she would appear on the screen, she's like, I don't trust that bitch.
I felt the same way about it.
I was too. I was like, yeah, she's up to something.
Yeah.
And it just never happened.
It's something really weird.
She's going to shiv us at some point. Nope, nothing.
Right. Not yet. Let's see. DLSS options. So yeah, it's either 1706 by 960 or the high one is 1280 by 720. Or the lower DLSS setting is that. So if you're scaling, if you're doing it at 4K, then it'll render it at 1080p or 1440.
Yeah. I mean, so on my current TV, I'm able to run The Witcher 3 at 1440 pretty well on my PC, and that 1440 upscaled to 4K looks good as hell. Like I don't know that I really need native 4K, but I would at least like good solid 1440, and you should be able to do that.
Oh yeah,
because the consoles are going to be about the equivalent of like a 2080 from what I understand, and I think that should be doable.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I'm sure they'll be more efficient than a 2080, and maybe do some of that stuff better. I don't know.
Yeah, well, people will be coding for a known architecture. That always helps.
And they'll be making games finally for CPUs with more than 4 cores. Like this is the first time great because the new consoles are going to have 8 cores instead of 4, so we'll be taking advantage of CPU power in a way that we have not probably before. So, like, that's potentially very interesting. As someone who just bought a 12-core CPU.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe you're not in the market for one of these new consoles.
No, I mean, I spent the price of one of these new consoles on my new CPU, basically. So, and I also spent way too much money on a graphics card 2 years ago. So,
You're good.
yeah, I'm good. But I honestly, Final Fantasy VII was good enough that I don't feel bad about getting my reduced price PlayStation 4.
Hey,
Like,
you
I
also
what I
got to
wanted
play
out of it.
Astrobot Rescue Mission.
I did.
It's true.
I guess you never really managed to crack the Bloodborne code, huh?
I just never played any more of it because after I did that stream, we had Resident Evil 3 and the Control DLC and Final Fantasy and something else. There was something else that came out. What was there? Wasn't there something else that came out around? Oh, Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I played 20 hours of Doom and 10 hours of Resident Evil 3 and 40 hours of Final Fantasy 7. So I just have not been able.
What
to
have you been doing with your life? Come on.
It's almost
I
like
feel
you
like
can't go outside or something.
I mean, I can go outside. I'm going to work every day. I live in an area where there's not very many people, so things are different here than they are in a city.
I live in the COVID capital of my country.
Cool.
Good job.
They tell people not to come here.
It's not because of the COVID, though, Mike. It's...
Oh.
All right, I think I'm ready to wind the stream down at least for tonight. Sorry I couldn't show more of this
play about
stuff.
60 hours of Apex Legends, so
There you go.
Ah, yes, very important.
it is very important.
This is
Thanks
definitely
for
the
CPS1.
motivation for me to finally get the 128 meg RAM board. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on good authority. The game's run really good with it.
Yeah.
Is the authority you?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, all right. Well, thanks everybody
Ghouls
for.
and Ghosts looks really nice on this.
It does. It does. It seems to be the only game that
It
works.
runs and looks really nice.
Yeah,
So.
it seems to be the only game that works really well with it. So once I get the expanded RAM, we'll do this again. And once this is out of beta, a lot of the games, again, there's a lot of games that are supported right now, but not everyone yet. But soon, and then it'll be on to CPS2 for Jotego, I think. So that's pretty exciting. And people are working on
Street Fighter 2 is way nicer than Super Nintendo Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. And people are working on
pretty neat.
PS1, and finally PC Engine CD is being worked on. We talked about that a little bit last week. So we'll be back next week with something else. Have a good night.
It's going to be XCOM.
It's going to be XCOM.
XCOM.